not quite bread and not quite cake as well. It's soft and moist, it's so delicious and easy to make. I was first introduced to this style of cornbread when I lived in New Mexico for a bit, at a restaurant called Garduño's. And if you lived most of your life on the east side of the continent, then this might be a bit of a mystery. So let me bring you a little taste of the Southwest, but made with our own homegrown sheepy goods. Hello shepherds, welcome back. And if you're new here, hello! This is where we talk all things sheepy. My name's Megan, and today I wanted to bring a little taste of the southwestern high desert to the shires of the Northeast. This recipe comes together really quick, so let's go ahead and preheat our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 177 degrees Celsius. We're also going to want to pull out 2 dishes. We're going to do a type of bain-marie or water bath, so any baking dishes to nestle into each other works. And about our ingredients. I like to give you all options for substitutions, but this recipe calls for masa flour and cornmeal. Those two are really important for the most accurate texture and flavor. Also, I'm running on massive sleep deprivation. It's all good and definitely for the cutest reasons, so if I sound funny, it's because of all that lack of sleep. So let's go ahead and get started. In a bowl, let's mix our cool and softened butter, about 1/4 of a cup or 54 grams, or equivalent to about 4 tablespoons. I'm using our sheep ghee or clarified butter, but if you have stick butter, use that. But cream the butter in rather than stirring in like I'm doing here, so there's no butter lumps. And then we want to toss in our masa flour, about 1/3 of a cup or 36 grams, and then mash it well until there's no butter clumps remaining and blend it in well together. Next, we're going to add our water, about 1/4 of a cup or 57 grams. And I know what you're thinking, this is a really wet batter. We're going to stir around until the water's blended in pretty well, and you'll be surprised at how much it'll change, especially after the final cooking step. Okay, so next up, our family prefers the corn bits to be half kernel and half pureed or cream, so that's what I'm doing. But if you want to use the whole can of cream corn, go ahead, or a whole can of corn kernels. My eyes are so blurry though, I thought my camera was in focus, so yikes. But hopefully you can see what's going on. Next, let's add our drained corn kernels. We'll also need about 1/3 of a cup or 74 grams of sugar, about 1/4 of a teaspoon or 1 gram of salt, half a teaspoon of baking powder. We'll also need to add 1/4 of a cup or 44 grams of cornmeal, and 2 tablespoons or 25 grams of either cream or milk, your preference. I'm using full fat milk from this morning that I haven't skimmed the cream off yet. Otherwise, I do skim milk, but really this is just a preference thing, and this is just what I grabbed. And it looks pretty mixed and it's still pretty wet, but it's really going to change in the end. Now let's go ahead and grab our pan. I'm using a loaf pan, and there's no need to worry about having the pan pre-greased. There's a lot of butter in this dish to grease the pan, but it's also incredibly light too. So let's go ahead and pour our batter into our pan, smoothing out our top, and then we want to cover up our pan. I'm using foil, and this is just to trap in a lot of moisture and steam our batter while it's baking. I have my kettle going, so next I'm going to pour in our hot water to create our water bath. Let's pop this in the oven and then bake it for around 60 minutes. Or until it passes the jiggle test. So what this means is that it's firm with no jiggling in the center, and it should look thicker and not watery or loose. Also, if you have a thermometer, it should read between 165 or 180 Fahrenheit or 73 to 82 degrees Celsius, internally near the center of your pan. Then we want to pull it out of our oven and rest it about 5 to 10 minutes to help it redistribute the moisture throughout our dish. Then we can enjoy it by spooning it into our favorite dish or as a side to some of our homemade chili. You can wrap up the leftovers and store it in the fridge for up to a week, and it reheats really well too if you want to make it ahead for, weeknight dinners. Okay, so now for my favorite part. Taste-wise, it's gently sweet and more comparable to a cake really than a cornbread. There's bursts of corn with each bite, and the butter adds moisture, and I like to think there's a bit of sheepy spirit in the dish. So there you have it. Is this cornbread, corn cake, or spoon bread? Let me know what you think. If you made it this far, an extra special thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching, and if you're curious about more sheep milk recipes, check out these videos. And until next time, stay soft, stay fluffy, and most importantly, stay true to you.